Let's talk some football for the first time tonight. So, Russell Wilson, bye-bye Broncos country. You're no longer riding with him. He's gone. Kirk Cousins. I'll say this. I'm very shocked. It sounds like he's going to become the next quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. I thought all along he would stay in Minnesota, but a couple of buddies of mine that I brought on Brandon's World this week has made the great point that if you're the Vikings, you're going to be in a division with Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, and a very good Lions team won by a top five quarterback easily in the conference and a loaded roster in Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions. If you're paying Kirk Cousins all that money, you pretty much have a ceiling where why not go for one of these young rookie quarterbacks? You can keep Justin Jefferson. You're not paying the quarterback. And by that nature, you can even pay Jordan Addison and upgrade your defense. So I actually think it's a smart move now that I thought about it more. And I do think that Kirk Cousins, with those young players in Atlanta, Raheem Morris, who is a very drill sergeant like defensive coach, but has also worked on the offense side of the ball. I think that makes sense. And then I'll let you respond, and then I'll get to my very controversial Russell Wilson take.
Yes. I agree with you that Kirk Cousins should leave Minnesota. I don't think he should go to Atlanta, though, because I think Justin Fields would be the much better fit for the Falcons.
I agree with that, but I think for Kirk, Atlanta's the fit.
From Kirk's side of things, yes, Atlanta makes sense.
That's
from
what I'm saying.
From the Atlanta perspective, Justin Fields makes more sense.
I think you're right on that, but Kirk Cousins, man, people in the league like him a lot.
Oh, Kirk Cousins is a very good quarterback. I'm not trying to discredit what he's done or disrespect him in any size or manner, whatever. I think I know that all signs seem to be pointing towards Russell Wilson going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I kind of think Kirk Cousins should maybe go to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, Kirk Cousins needs an offensive-minded head coach, and please don't put him with Arthur Smith.
That would actually be funny.
By the way, I think Zach Robinson, who is the offensive coordinator in Atlanta, worked under Sean McVay. That system is similar to Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. I think that can work. I just don't see Kirk Cousins playing in cold Pittsburgh.
He has played in a dome the last few seasons in Minnesota.
He did go to Washington. And by the way, Kirk has had success in a relatively okay division. I would say the division's a lot better now than it has been. If Pittsburgh doesn't have the weapons, I would argue that Minnesota has. I don't think Pickens or DeAndre Johnson is nearly as good as Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison.
I would argue George Pickens is, at least at this point, a little bit better than Jordan Addison.
Jordan Addison looked like a number one last year when Justin Jefferson was out to me.
Let me see Jordan Addison do it again for another season, then I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
But in terms of
my thought,
go ahead.
If Russell Wilson does not land with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Russell Wilson is not going to be on an NFL team to start next season.
Really?
I think his brand is a lot like Cam Newton. Big brand, well known. His wife is obviously a superstar. I think Russell Wilson, the let's ride, Denver, let's cook. I think his brand is too big to be a backup quarterback in the NFL. And I don't see another situation. I don't think Atlanta would take him. I don't think Vegas would take him.
Vegas was the team I was just going to suggest, actually.
Vegas will not take him. Vegas is going to want to go young. They're not going to want to mess around. They have a good enough roster where they don't want to have Russell Wilson for 1 year be a game manager. They want to go get a real quarterback. Antonio Pierce isn't going to mess around. So I don't see Vegas even remotely going after him. I think the one spot that somebody brought up to me that I do think outside of Pittsburgh makes sense is the Giants. But are they going to be willing to pay Russell Wilson $1 million and still have Daniel Jones on the roster? I don't think so.
I don't think the Giants. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be on the Giants roster for long because all reports seem to indicate the Giants are done with Daniel Jones.
And they paid him $40 million. So I kind of think they're going to stick with him for 1 year because what the Giants do. I could be wrong. The Giants could shock me and move up and get a quarterback. I don't think they'd go after Russ. I think if they're going to move on from Daniel Jones, you're getting a younger quarterback.
Yeah, originally in the rundown, you had a topic about J.J. McCarthy moving up the draft boards. I could see the Giants possibly taking him.
I think J.J. McCarthy's a walk to Denver. I think it's a universal walk. Whether they have to move up or not, I think he's perfect for Sean Payton. And I think the Giants would go after a guy like Drake May if he slipped by chance, which from all reports sounds like he could. It sounds like Washington's leaning towards Jaden Daniels from the last I've read. So it's going to be very interesting. But if Russ doesn't land in Pittsburgh, out of all the quarterback needy teams out there, like Minnesota, if you're moving off Kirk, you're not getting Russell Wilson. You're going to go get a young quarterback. Atlanta, Kirk Cousins and Justin Fields are better options than Russell Wilson. I could make the case for him in New Orleans, but you're not going to have him and Derek Carr. Tampa's going to keep Baker Mayfield. I don't see a landing spot for him, and I think his brand is too big to be a backup.
I agree with you. But that's why I'm skeptical about his fit in Pittsburgh, because his brand is so big that I don't know if that would work in Pittsburgh.
Let me throw this at you with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, big bombastic personality. What was Pete Carroll in Seattle? Big bombastic defensive personality. Big ultra setter. Pittsburgh has some diva wide receivers. I think Russell Wilson's optimism and his ability to be able to coach Kenny Pickett. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be great. I think they're going to be last in the division, and they may finish 9-8 because they always have a 500 record. Yay! But I think Russell Wilson is an upgrade from what they already have.
He certainly would be. I mean, hell, they just cut Mitch Trubisky and he signed with Buffalo again.
By the way, a lot of people are laughing about it. I think Buffalo liked what they saw when he backed up Josh Allen 2 years ago, and I think there's a reason why they rushed out to sign him.
I don't get it, but whatever.
I do. Backup quarterback is like the third most important position on your football team next to quarterback and kicker. I'm not joking. How many times do I have to tell you every single week during football season, the better quarterback wins? Look at the betting markets this year. Why did I have such a good year betting where I was going 4 for 5 every single week? I was betting mostly favorites and I was betting on quarterbacks.
Fair enough. I'm trying to think. What about New England for Russell Wilson?
No, they should not do this. If they get Mac Jones another year, God help us all. But I think they're going to draft a quarterback, and I think their backup quarterback should be you sign a deal to bring back Jimmy Garoppolo.
Really?
Good guy in the room. Mac Jones, from all accounts, was not a good locker room guy. I'm big on that. Your quarterback room has got to be a good locker room guy. Why do you think Bill kept Brian Hoyer around all those years? Because Hoyer was great in the room. Bailey Zappi, he ain't going to make it. He ain't a backup in the NFL. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, for me, has 2 teams he can go to be a backup in the NFL. He can go back to New England, or where I think he should go, I think Jimmy G should go to the Jets and back up Aaron Rodgers.
That's funny.
No, the Jets need a plan. I am signing the best of it. If I'm the Jets, I call Kirk Cousins and see how much money he'd want to sit on the bench. I'm damn serious. You need a better backup plan than Zach Wilson. Robert Sauer's job is on the line.
What about the Saints for Kirk Cousins?
They have Dennis Allen. I don't care who they put in at quarterback. It's like Derek Carr with freaking Wash. Because they have a guy, we're tough. We're defensive. We're going to win the game 6-3 like Ron Rivera. Where's he at now? Trying out for ESPN. It's where Dennis Allen should be. He should have got canned.
But it's an interesting discussion. But you know what else?
Let's talk about the running back. Let's go to Saquon Barkley, who I loved coming out of Penn State, and then he went to the Giants, and they ruined his career. There are a lot of teams into Saquon Barkley, and as much as I would like, and I don't say love, I said like to potentially see him in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform behind that offensive line, which shout out to the greatest center in the history of football, Cleveland's own Jason Kelsey, for retiring earlier this week. Just the best center of all time and one of the best Philadelphia Eagles of all time. He will absolutely get a statue up outside of that stadium.
He got a tribute video actually at the Cavs game on Tuesday
And I
night.
and I did see that, and that was very classy of the Cavs. Mr. Unger, I
Okay.
think Saquon Barkley is going to be a Los Angeles Charger.
Ooh, that I hadn't even thought of that. But that's
They
an
just
act-
let go of Austin Eckler. He's going to get a little bit of a discount. The Chargers are going to draft one of the two running backs from Michigan. And with Greg Roman as their new OC, it's going to be Saquon and either Blake Corum or Donovan Edwards as their new 1-2 punch in the backfield with Justin Herbert.
Okay. I like that. How about this? He goes down to Texas. Not to put a star on his helmet.
I like the Texans. Yep, I like it.
Yep. Put him with CJ Stroud and what the Texans already have offensively. I think that would be like a hand in glove type fit for
I will say this, though. Devin Singletary had a very good year. Do you want to pay to bring in another running back?
Well, you were just talking about how it would give the Chargers a great 1-2 punch. Why not?
Yeah, but I think you can get Saquon at a discount, and I think Houston is going to regress this year. I've already said that. I think no matter what they do, I think the division's better. I think the Colts are going to be really good. I think they're a team that no one's talking about. I think the Colts, and I need to see it when the schedule comes out, but right now I have a gut feeling the Colts are going to win that division. I think Jacksonville's going to finish in second, and Houston will probably be a very good third. I just think they got a break at the end of last year, and I think now they get a first place schedule. Unless they go out and they spend money and they win free agency on the defense side of the ball, I don't think Stroud's going to regress, but I think the team in general will regress.
I don't. I think Houston is here to stay. I think it's going to be a fight between them. I agree with you about the Colts, though. I think it's going to be a fight between the Texans and the Colts.
I think people are sleeping on Jacksonville, and there's a reason why they were 9-3 before Trevor Lawrence got hurt at the end of the year.
Fair enough, but I think Singletary and Saquon together, you could use one of them as a hybrid. Maybe you don't have to use Singletary as strictly a running back. Use him as a wide receiver.
I think Saquon would be more used as the wide receiver to save his body.
Either way, though, just because you get signed as a running back doesn't mean you have to definitively.
Well, of course, every running back goes out and catches passes.
Yeah, but most of the time, you see running backs when they go like catch a pass or whatever, they run around out of the backfield. I'm saying you can use Saquon or Singletary, whichever, as a wide receiver and put them on the line with the rest of the wide receivers.
For the record, I don't think either of the two teams that we mentioned particularly need Saquon Barkley. I think the Giants need him a lot more, but they can't pay him because they paid Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Because, and I said this, I've told you this for weeks, Cincinnati's going to probably go with Joe Mixon. I think it's the right decision. If you have a top quarterback, you don't need a great running back. You need a good running game. You don't need a great running back. Unless said quarterback is on a friendly-ish deal where you're not paying a ton of people yet, which the Chargers are sort of getting there. But if they, let go of a Mike Williams or they do something like that, I think that because they're not going to pay Austin Eckler, they can get Saquon Barkley on a 1-year, $5 million prove-it deal.
I like it. What would you think if Saquon ended up in Dallas with the Cowboys?
Whoop-de-doo it. It's a running back. That I mean, if Philly gets him, I'll be like, yeah, I'm excited. Okay, I like Saquon, but it doesn't change my opinion on the team. It's a running back.
You don't think like it would help the Cowboys get closer to winning the Super Bowl or
No,
anything like that?
not at all. Don't think it scares me one bit.
Fair enough. Um,
By the way, for the record, and this is what I've been saying about the NFL, what Diana Rossini and others have reported today, this upcoming free agency, what are the positions that are being suppressed and you give very good players that will help you win games, but on cheaper, maybe 1 year or 2 year prove it deals? Running back is one of them. Safety is another. I've been saying this for years. You don't need great safeties. Defensive guys. I laughed at Belichick, who always said, I love our safety room. That's great. I don't care about safeties. And linebackers. We need 4 great linebackers. No, you don't. You need about one. And that's about it. You know where you should spend your money in the NFL? Let me give everybody a general class in the NFL. You got to spend on the quarterback. I'm not giving Dak Prescott 60 million, but I'm giving Dak about 50 because that's what the market says. And the quarterback is going to take up about a fourth of your salary cap. You already know that going in. You got to spend on quarterback. You got to spend on a weapon or two, whether it be a receiver and a tight end or 2 receivers. You got to spend on a left tackle, and if your quarterback's a lefty, a right tackle. I like a decent center. Then you got to give me 1 or 2 pass rushers. If you only go with 1 pass rusher, maybe we can talk about a corner. The rest of the positions, linebacker, running back, safety, your left guard, your right guard, your third receiver. Don't spend a ton of money on that. That's not what wins games.
fair enough. Um, I don't have a lot to say on all that. Because I just don't.
I mean, are you not seeing the trend of what's
Oh
going on in the NFL? The
no,
trend,
I certainly am.
the trend in the NFL today is offensive coach, good running game, superstar quarterback with great weapons on a rookie deal that you can load up your team, and
Yeah.
then pay your quarterback and decide which positions that you want to pay. Kansas City and Buffalo were both. Kansas City was okay with Alex Smith. They were not this with Patrick Mahomes, and they went go with Tyreek Hill, and they won back-to-back Super Bowls. Buffalo, we made the quarterback, or we made the plans with Tyrod Taylor. Whippy! Once they got Josh Allen, even though they have not won a Super Bowl, and you can make an argument their 2021 team should have won it, and their defense just gave up, in the 13 seconds of Kansas City. But that Buffalo team was in contention to win the Super Bowl that year because of Josh Allen. My Philadelphia Eagles will always be in the Super Bowl mix because of Jalen Hurts. Cincinnati will always be in the Super Bowl mix because of Joe Burrow. Baltimore will always be in the Super Bowl mix because of Lamar Jackson. Now that the Chargers have the right coach, they will always be in the Super Bowl mix. It's a clear definement. You have a great quarterback, you don't need a great running back.
Yes. I'm definitely starting to see that for sure. Um, Let me throw out another option for Jonathan Taylor, or not Jonathan Taylor, excuse me, Saquon Barkley. Although they're in the same division as Indianapolis. You mentioned them earlier with Trevor Lawrence. What if he were to go to
They
Jacksonville?
have ETN. I'm not paying Barkley. ETN is a clear number one back, but I think the situations that we talked about with Barkley, he'd become the number one.
Okay.
By the way,
Um,
I like Tanks Bigsby, and I like Dearness Johnson, the former Brown. If they bring him back, I think that's a good enough running back room.
yeah. Um, what running backs do the Jets have?
Brees Hall,
Uh,
superstar back. I'm not paying Saquon. I think Minnesota, they just got rid of Alexander Madison. If you move off Kirk Cousins, you're going to have a young quarterback. That's a team that they could go get Saquon Barkley.
I agree, but I think the teams that really should are the two we already mentioned: the Chargers and the Texans.
By the way, Chicago as well. You got Caleb. If you sign Barkley, you got DJ Moore, Cole Komet. That's some weapons. Their coach is still going to get fired, but they got weapons.
Yeah,